the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
How good is that?
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Jess Mac with you and Swifties. We are waking up to very big news. After 6 years, Taylor Swift finally owns all of her master's recordings. She has said, all of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. All of my music videos, all the concert films, the album art and photography, the unreleased songs, the memories, the magic, the madness, every single era, my entire life's work. She released this letter overnight. On her website, she has said to say it is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it. Now, it turns out that this sale was only possible because of the success of the Taylor's Versions re-recorded albums and also the Eras tour. That allowed her to buy back her music, and she said, I can't thank you enough for helping to reunite me with this art that I have dedicated my life to, but have never owned until now. She's gone on to thank Shamrock Capital. Now, if you remember, Scooter Braun originally bought these albums sort of out from underneath Taylor, and only a year later he sold them to Shamrock Capital in what was believed to be about a $300 million deal. But she has thanked them and said she's forever grateful for Shamrock Capital. They're the first people that ever offered this opportunity to her, and the way that they've handled every interaction has been honest, fair and respectful. It was a business deal to them, but I really felt like they saw it for what it was for me. My memories and my sweat and my handwriting and my decades of dreams. I am endlessly thankful. I thought this was a funny line. She said, my first tattoo might just have to be a huge shamrock in the middle of my forehead. Okay, now let's get to what everyone has been clowning about. We thought that Reputation was going to come out at the AMAs. Turns out she hasn't even re-recorded a quarter of it. She said the album was so specific to that time in her life. She tried to re-record it. She kept hitting this stopping point every time she tried to remake it. All the defiance, the longing to be understood while feeling misunderstood, the desperate hope, the shame-born snarl and mischief. It was the one album in the first six that she thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it. So she kept putting it off. And she has said that there will be a time, if we are into that idea, the fans, for the unreleased vault tracks from that album to hatch. I mean, of course, I think the vault tracks, they're the only things from the albums we haven't heard before. So, of course, we want those vault tracks. It doesn't sound like we're going to get that full Reputation album, though. We will get Debut. She has recorded all of that. And she said that those two albums can still have their moments to re-emerge when the time is right and if it's something that we would be excited about. Which I think just by the fact of how many Swifties tuned into the AMAs to see absolutely nothing, yes, that is something that we would be excited about. She went on to say she was extremely heartened by the conversations this saga has reignited within the industry among artists and fans, and every time a new artist tells her that they negotiated their own master's recordings in their contract because of this fight, she's reminded how important this all was. She goes on to thank the fans for all their goodwill, teamwork and encouragement, and she said the best things that have ever been mine finally actually are. A very heartfelt letter written from Taylor herself. I mean, the interesting thing is, there was a leak in the news from Scooter Braun's team earlier this week saying that he was actually encouraging Shamrock to make this deal with Taylor, but a source close to the sale has firmly denied that. They said, contrary to a previous false report, there was no outside party who encouraged this sale. All rightful credit for this opportunity should go to the partners at Shamrock Capital and Taylor's Nashville-based management team only. Taylor now owns all of her music, and this moment finally happened in spite of Scooter Braun, not because of him. But can I just say, very Scooter Braun of him to try and claim credit for all her success just one last time. People were also saying that this deal was between $600 million and $1 billion. But apparently it's actually closer to the $300 million Shamrock paid for it back in 2020, round about $360 million, which for our ethical billionaire is not really that much money, considering how much that Eras tour just raked in. Now, as for Scooter himself, his public response was very simple. He just said, I am happy for her. So I think time will tell if that is actually the case or not. But a monumental day for the music industry and for Taylor Swift herself, of course, reclaiming what was rightfully hers, all of those albums back where they belong. Fingers crossed we get those other two at some point if she ever feels ready for it. But until then, I think I'm off to listen to the original style, which just hits a little bit different than the new one. Thanks for listening. Jess Mac signing off. And don't forget, Nova will have all the updates on this story as they come out.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.